Hello, just making up a few nukes, just wanted to share this with you. It's a lovely sunny day, we're now mid-September and I'm making up my last nukes. If you can see that in this lovely bright sunshine, but I'll flip the camera around, you can have a little look. I'm going to be splitting this colony and taking out 3 frames of bees and brood, mostly 2 frames of bees and brood and 1 frame of stores. Because we're getting late now. It's really the last possible time you can do this. So you've got to use prolific colonies that are strong, that will cope well with losing a few bees. Now, I took the honey off these about a week ago. A bit late, I know. Everyone else in the world seems to have done their harvest except me this year, but that's just the way it goes. You can't be everywhere all the time. And when you're on one-man band, it's difficult. But the long and the short of it is, we're here, finally here. My last treatments are going in a little bit late. Been monitoring my mite levels, they're not too bad. I'm a bit concerned, I'm a bit late with my treatments, but I have no other choice. It's just the way it is. But anyway, I'll show you what I do. So here's my box that I'm in the process of doing the split with. I've already taken out the 3 frames here of bees and brood. Now, I wanted also, when I took these out, I wanted hatching brood, emerging brood, because I've actually got 4 breeder queens to go in these boxes. I'm going to make up 4 nukes obviously and a few more because I've got some other queens spare. But I wanted emerging brood so that I could put these queens under pushing cages, because the first 4 queens I've just got from Denmark again, from Carl Brandstrup, and their 4 more lines we're going to run for next year. So they're very valuable queens, so they've got to be good. So I've gone to my best colonies. They're nice bees, but what I'm doing is I've taken the frames of bees and brood out, found the one of emerging brood, so I know tomorrow when I come in I'll still have emerging brood on that frame. And I put them in a box, but I've left them in the sun, so all the flying bees are going to leave there. Most of the flying bees are going to leave there and leave the nurse bees just in that box, so they're going to be even more gentle, and it means they're even more acceptable to accept a new queen. So let's just explain what I did here. Often we go down to 7 frames for the winter. So this was one of my frames. That now is a partition, okay? There's another partition here. For those of you who don't know what a partition is, it's a frame with a foam filler in. Now we've had problems with bees eating some of these. So you can see I've actually painted these ones with just some, it was just a masonry paint, but it seems to work really well. This blue type, don't seem to get eaten so much. So, now what I'm going to do is I've taken these 3 frames out, 1 partition's already gone in, and that's where that frame of stores that was in this end is now being moved to. So I'm going to move all the others up, so there'll be a total of 7 frames to overwinter on. This side will have, number 1 will be the foundation, which is here, and number 2 will be another partition. So there'll be 7 frames here they overwinter on. That's how we overwinter most of the time after we make a split. If we don't make a split, we'll overwinter on the 10 frames, but then come the spring, we'll probably remove frames and renew them. That's how we generally rotate. And don't forget, we often make splits in the spring as well as the summer. But this year, I finally got my numbers up now, so I don't have to make splits from every colony. I can either let them overwinter as they are, or if I need the bees, I've got the resources available. It's all about using your resources wisely, as you probably know. So you can see, this is just nurse bees now. The front is foamed off. And this is a ventilated nuke, by the way, and do not ever put this amount of bees into a nuke without the base being ventilated, even this time of year, because they will die. Unless you get them to where they're going to be opened up within 20 minutes or half an hour, they're going to die, or you spray them with water, because they go over so quickly. You've got to be absolutely careful. You can see now my foundation is there, number 1. Number 2 is the partition. Number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10 is another partition. So I've reduced the nest, but as far as the colony is concerned, it's not going to suddenly find it with loads of space, because I've reduced it down in size, so it's still able to overwinter fine. But a couple of things to talk about here. When you're taking a nuke, and there's a lot of work being done on this, and basically the theory is that in the morning, if you take your bees when you come to do the nuke and it's mid-afternoon and the sun's in the west, your queen's more likely to be on this side. If you come in the morning, like we are now, the queen's more likely to be on this side. And they reckon through the course of averages, if you didn't even check for a queen and you took the first 3 frames of this side, so you went into the net, just to the edge of the nest, took a couple of frames of bees and brood out, and then the rest you took a frame of sugar, a frame of honey, those 3 frames, for example, would probably have no queen on it. And if you look at the averages, they reckon that you probably 95% of the time you wouldn't get the queen, so you don't have to check. But I still do check, because I find this time of year I don't want to have the queen going in that box, and then I've got to come back and put another one back in here, and I'm running short of queens this time of year, because we've made our choices, we've done the mating, we're finished for the season. It's what I don't want to be doing. So I do tend to look, but I always find, generally, personally, I do find this works, that the queen, in this time of the morning, when the sun's up here from the east, she's on this side of the colony. It's just something to bear in mind. It helps you when you're making up nukes. So now I'm realizing what I've done to this colony this year. It's given me a nuke in the spring when I split it first, fed it immediately after I made the split and got it back up to speed again, and it gave me summer honey, and it gave me 2 supers of summer honey, about 25-30 kilos of the stuff. And then I've taken another split from it, so I'm recognizing what this colony has given me, and I'm giving it something back. You've got to feed. You've got to get that stock up. You've got to keep those bees going. So by doing this, you are preparing the bees for winter. You're giving them that feed. I'm not talking about drowning them in feed, but I still want them to be full, because very soon, in another 3 weeks, that queen's going to stop laying, and then suddenly all the bees that I made are going to be finished with, and they're the bees that are going to survive the winter. So we've got to give that colony enough stores to get through the winter. But we've got the ivy flow about to start right now. So they'll have that syrup will be gone in 2 days. Completely empty, and it'll all be stored. Then the ivy flow will start, and that will stock it up with pollen as well. Because the pollen is always prolific. Sometimes there's not much nectar, and this year may be like that because it's very, very dry. But we shall see. It's all we can do. We just do the best we can. But you need to feed. Not feeding is a false economy. You might pick up the hive and think, oh, it's not bad, and the flow's about to start. Not good enough. You've got to get those bees through the winter, and you'll be kicking yourself in March when it's freezing cold and pissing with rain, and you're trying to get feed in, and the bees just won't take it up, and then you get a howling gale, and what happens? It just pushes them over the edge, and that colony collapses. Why? Because you didn't want to feed in September, October, when you could have done easily. It's complete false economy. Remember the cost of a colony. Remember the cost of how much it's going to take to put back together that following year. It's a no-brainer. Anyway, there we go. Another nuke made. I've got all the rest to do there. I'm probably going to make 10 in total, so I'm going to pick the strongest colonies and leave the rest well alone. This is a super spot here. Luckily, it's a new place this year, and I'm delighted because it's on a farm, and it's away from possible people seeing stuff like thieves, things like that. I just like to be left alone and to turn up to do my bees as and when I want, and this is the kind of place that I get that kind of no hassle. I have to keep it maintained. You can see I've got a little bit of grass cutting to do here, but that'll be done in one sweep of the big mower. And it's all gone really well this autumn so far. It's just a lot of work to finally finish everything off. When you think you're there, you've still got a lot to do. Get these nukes home, and I will put them out this afternoon. They'll then orientate themselves a bit. I'll get a feeder on, and then tomorrow I'm going to put some queens on the pushing cages, because I've got to get the last queens I've ordered. They're going in tomorrow regardless. Even if it's pouring the rain, they have to get in, because it's been a week since they've been in their cages, and I cannot afford them to be away from being looked after any longer. Have a great day.